So if you want plants that you can totally abuse and not really take care of, but they still look fairly dang good, like, this is the video for you. Hello, I'm Lauren, that awkward plant girl. Welcome back to my channel. It's so good to see you guys. Thank you guys for popping in. So I'm just going to talk about some of my favorite, most easy care plants that take a lot of abuse from me. I'm going to be very honest. I have hundreds of plants. I don't take care of them all the way that I should. So when I say that these are the best beginner, low maintenance plants, I mean, like, I totally forget about them for like a month and they handle it just fine. At the very least, I'm watering them every 2 weeks or so. Like, they're very low maintenance plants. And some of these are gonna be like, of course, standard, average, low maintenance plants. And then other ones might kind of surprise you. People don't really talk about them very much. All right, so first up on the list is a very standard plant. This is a spider plant. I know you've probably seen the green and white ones. They're standard variegated, and then there's reverse variegated, which is like inverted, where the white is on the wrong side and the green is on the opposite side. Like, they look about the same though. Like, you have to have them next to each other to look different. This is a Hawaiian spider plant. This is the all green version. They can also get like a lighter green stripe down the middle, like you see right here. Very easy care plant, can dry out, very low maintenance. I have a whole video on care tips for this one if you need. It was made like years ago, 2 years ago, a year ago, I don't even remember, a while ago. It was made a while ago, but I stand by the care tips in there because I have 7 spider plants in this room alone, and I have spider plants in every room in my house. They are so easy care. You just toss them anywhere. Like, the worst they're gonna do is not grow, or they'll lose some leaves if you don't give them enough light. They'll also lose leaves if you forget to water them for long periods of time, but they like to dry out. They have these huge, thick rhizomatous tubers, almost kind of like little tiny baby potatoes for roots, and they hold on to so much moisture. They are prone to root rot though, so make sure that you're not overwatering these guys by leaving them sitting in a giant tub of water for like 3 or 4 days. Overnight is fine. People will debate on that, but I stand by that. Overnight is fine. You can bottom water your plants overnight and they'll be fine. Now, if they're dying before that, then you got a problem. But it wasn't the sitting there overnight that did it. Because sometimes it actually rains for overnight and your plants are going to have to deal with that. Next up on the list is a staghorn fern. I know, you're going to go, a fern? Lauren, really? Really, a fern right now? Yes, a fern. This is a staghorn fern. It's got these shield fronds, which look kind of weird. A lot of people like to mount these. I find that it makes it more difficult care to mount them because they dry out faster and then it takes more maintenance. If you cache pot it, like I have done here, where you just take your nursery pot and stick it in another pot like that, traps all the moisture and humidity, and it's like this little plant is sitting on the tree like it's supposed to be, and the shield fronds will trap all that moisture and humidity in there. I water this like once a month, and these are thick, leathery, beautiful leaves that will mature, and they can grow into different antler shapes or whatever depending on the variety that you get, but they're all pretty easy care. And it's okay to have little crispy shield fronds. They're supposed to do that. And then they put out brand new little fronds over here. So definitely one of the top easiest care plants. Next on the list is a ZZ plant. These are definitely touted as very, very easy care plants. Like, these plants you can actually stick in the dark corner and forget about it. And they like to dry out. They have these huge bulbs that they grow from. They're originally from South Africa. And they can handle a lot of light. They can handle high humidity, low humidity. Their leaves, you can propagate a whole new plant. It takes months, but you can just break off a leaf and turn it into a whole new plant. Easy peasy. They are talked about as easy beginner plants all the time. They are toxic though. So if you have pets or little kids who like to chew on plants, make sure this one stays up. They are slow growers, so if you're an instant gratification kind of person and you need a new leaf every day, this is not going to be the plant for you. But if you like cool plants that grow in a cool way and you just want to watch something grow with very low effort, very little effort, like, this is it. Right. So you can see this one right here has a whole new leaf stem coming in, and it just grows right from the vase, from a rhizome on up, and they come in a lighter green and then they get darker over time, which is really cool. You also have a raven ZZ, which comes in a lighter green and then gets black over time, which is really cool. This actually used to be my chameleon ZZ, which is a lighter green and has like multi shades of green on it, and then it looked kind of speckled and it was really cool. You can kind of see a little bit down here of what that looked like, but unfortunately, being in lower light, it totally reverted after about 2 years of lower light. It just happens, but it is what it is. Still a very cool, very beautiful plant. Highly recommend. Can't recommend it enough, honestly. Very low maintenance. The next low maintenance plant for you is a Burle Marx. Burle Marx, however you want to say it. He was an amazing man that did amazing things. Great artist. We have a lot of plants because of him. And this particular plant is very low care, very low maintenance, very easy care. This one I cash pot it. It's growing in sphagnum moss and I have it shoved up there. I've had it in low light. I've had it in high light. I've had it in the deep dark recesses of my room. I have one climbing. I have one trailing. I have one just chilling there. And it propagates so freaking easy. Like, this is a very versatile, easy care plant. And it grows really crazy and wild like this. Like, there is no stopping this plant. And if you want a beginner plant that's really easy to propagate, that you can just have a bunch of all over the place, this is totally it. And if you want something that can fit anywhere you need it to fit, this is going to be it as well. Because, like, I have it hanging on a shelf. I have one on a table. I have one literally climbing up a pole over there. Like, it's all over the place. So easy, easy, easy care, easy way to get green, and nobody ever talks about this plant. I do have a whole care guide if you want to know how to care for it a little bit better. I've taken a lot of time to learn how to take care of this plant, but really it's very easy care, low maintenance. All right, so next up we have a standard easy care plant called a peace lily. They are just big, leafy, green, bushy plants. You can get little tiny ones and watch them grow. They will faint if they don't get enough water. They're very, very diva plants as far as that goes. But you could leave them there for a bit. I've left mine fainted for a week and then watered it. And it's a little tiny thing. So, like, I'm not saying that you should. I'm just saying that it happens. And the plant survived it just fine. Like, it didn't even lose a leaf. How crazy is that? It just perked back up like nothing ever happened. It was freaking nuts. And there are big, huge ones that you get for fairly inexpensive that do the same thing. Like, if you have to have a big, beautiful plant, like, get that one. It's easy. They just like a lot of water. There are people that have even planted them just in water and just grow it in just water, and it thrives. It doesn't get much more easy care than that. Like, you do have to, what, pour water in a container every once in a while? Remember to fertilize it once every couple of months? They're not heavy feeders, so if you forget to fertilize them, no biggie. Definitely a reason why they're on every standard low maintenance plant care plant list ever. Have to be. Another one that has to be on that list is called Lucky Bamboo. It looks like bamboo. It's actually a Dracaena. It's toxic if you eat it. Don't let your kids play with it and whatnot. You can slice it up. It just grows in water. I had it growing in water for years. It reaches about 3 feet high max, I believe, maybe 4 feet. They're really, really cool plants. I actually had to chop mine up because they were reaching the ceiling and it was starting to grow into the ceiling. So I had to chop mine up and put it back in. I just grow them in little bottles. I think they're old, like, Starbucks bottles, or they look like the milk bottles, almost the glass milk bottles. And I just put some, like, homemade pond stuff in there. But I've also grown them in perlite. I've grown them in just water. You can get just stratum and put it at the bottom. As long as you give it water occasionally, it's fine. It's the easiest low maintenance plant ever. You get them at the grocery stores all the time, or you'll see them around Mother's Day, like, popping up in pharmacies. Totally easy care plant. Definitely get that one. Oh, and they can handle all kinds of light too. So even if you shove them in a deep dark corner, they'll be fine. Like, they're easy plant. So next up is a Scindapsus argyreus. These are so easy to care for. You can have them climb if you want. They are shingling plants. It does take a little bit more maintenance to get them to climb, but if you want the bigger leaves, then you got to get them to climb. If you don't mind smaller leaves and you want them to trail and get smaller as they go along, you can totally do that. I have one on my bookshelf right up here. I absolutely love it. It's one of my all-time favorite plants. I have a whole video about taking care of problems with these plants as well if you need. The thing is, if you don't give them enough light, they will start to reduce in size, and then they'll also start to lose the silvery, shimmery variegation that they have. But if you give them a little bit more light, then they'll start to pop off with more variegation, and it'll come back for you. Just a really, really chill plant. I don't have to water it that often. It's on top of my bookshelf. Like, I'm not climbing up there and pulling it down and untangling vines. Like, I'm not doing that on a regular. I don't have time to do that on a regular. But it looks really freaking fabulous with me just dumping water on it once a month. So there is that. Now, do I lose a few leaves here and there? Do I have some brown spots here and there? Absolutely, because I'm not giving it the specific care it needs. But it's a low maintenance plant and it still looks freaking great for not doing hardly anything to it. And they're not heavy feeders, so you don't have to worry about fertilizing them all the time. Like, would it grow faster and better if it did? Yes, absolutely. But I got it from a little teeny tiny pot to a giant bushy pot that's now touching the floor from the top of my bookshelf. And I haven't really done anything to it. Nothing crazy, you know? And I even propagated. So definitely highly recommend, cannot recommend it enough. Last and absolutely not least, Hoya pubicalyx. Hoya pubicalyx is so easy care. I know a lot of Hoya out there are really hard to grow. They grow slow. They don't do what you want, and it's really intimidating, especially when you start to see some of the prices. Hoya pubicalyx is very inexpensive. It's my #1 beginner plant because it's just so easy care. They can dry out. You can feel the leaves and tell if they need to be watered. They're so low maintenance as well because you can just let them climb whatever, and if you don't give them something to climb, then they'll climb it themselves. Or they'll trail, and their leaves don't really reduce in size. They come out with little baby leaves, and then the leaves get bigger and bigger the older the leaves are. They also get these beautiful little splotches all over them when they get enough light. Some of them can send stress. There's a whole bunch of different varieties of Hoya pubicalyx out there, depending on what color you want. Variegated, not variegated, pink splash, regular splash, black, purple. I mean, it's a never-ending list for Hoya pubicalyx, honestly. But it's an amazing, easy care plant that you can get very inexpensively, and if you give them high light, they grow faster. If you give them low light, they just lose the splash. Like, they're not going to drop all their leaves. Most Hoya are high light plants. This plant will do better in high light, but they don't need it. Very easy care, very low maintenance, no stress over it, and you can make it climb or vine or trail. I have mine pinned up to go along my window. I just use the little thumbtack push pins. They're clear. You just put it on the wall and then you put your Hoya right on through it. It's easy peasy. I have multiple vines. Freaking love this plant. It doesn't matter what I do to it. It just keeps growing. Occasionally, if I forget to water it for a really, really long time, it'll just dry off the end of one of the vines and then it'll regrow later once I give it the ideal conditions. Like, it's no stress. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!